Okay, everyone, welcome to chapter 27, where we talk about lettering. Let's just get to it. I'll first cover why lettering matters, where to find the fonts to use, and I'll talk about the lettering basics and the various styles. So, why does lettering matter? When creators first make comics, they're mostly concerned with only the art or the story writing portion, and then they ignore the lettering. But the problem is, one, if the dialogue can't be read quickly or easily, readers will bounce. And two, even the best art can look amateur if the lettering is sloppy, like my example here. And lastly, fonts and balloons can carry emotions just like expressions. They also convey mood and tone. So don't ignore lettering just because it's not talked about as much. If done well, it'll add so much to your story. If done poorly, it'll yank the reader out instantly. When it comes to finding the fonts, I'll give you two general websites to find the information. The first one is the manga font directory. This one will show you examples, actual examples, plus the fonts and where to get the fonts as well. I'll leave a link to these in the class materials. And the next one is an imager sheet, an imager gallery, but it will have a bunch of things like this, a whole list of fonts and examples used by various scanlation groups. But in general, you'll find a lot of these through Blambot. They also have free fonts and paid fonts, so go ahead and check them out. Now here's a quick but important note about fonts. Number one, always, always, always check the license. Just because you found a font in the free fonts websites doesn't mean it's actually free for commercial use. And commercial use means we plan to or are earning money off of our work. Many fonts you see on those websites are free only for personal use, not for publishing. And also be sure to check when you're buying the fonts. Some licenses are for multiple teams versus for one creator, which tends to be us. So always check the licensing before you download anything. And number two, respect the font creators. Font designers are artists too. They put in hours of work designing each typeface. If you make a face at paying $20 or $40 for a professional font, remember that you're also asking your future readers to pay for your work. It doesn't feel good to hear someone go, "Ew, why would I pay money for that?" to your work, right? So supporting font creators is part of the creative ecosystem that we are also part of. And there's some good news. There's plenty of legit free or commercial safe fonts out there, including Blambot and also Google Fonts. And number three, when it comes to lettering in English, we have two options. Either go all caps for the dialogue or do mixed case. In classic Western comics, especially in American, they tend to traditionally use all caps for dialogue. Since they were originally handwritten, all caps made things easy to read, and that stayed as a tradition or the norm. Online nowadays, people either go for all caps or do start to use the mixed version, which feels more natural to the way we write and the way novels are written. All caps can be hard to read for some, and it can feel like everyone is shouting. In either case, don't mix and match them randomly. Make sure you commit to one style consistently. When it comes to loading your fonts in Clip Studio, there now is an option where you can add directly into it instead of installing the font to your computer and then restarting Clip Studio for it to load. So if you click on the arrow button here, a drop-down menu will show, and you can now select Add Font from Files. I would recommend creating a separate catalog of your commonly used fonts. You can do that by clicking on this gear icon on the side, and then this UI will pop up. So you can use this icon to create new lists. And then once that list is selected, you can go ahead and scroll through all the fonts you have. And if you want to add something, just click here, and it'll be automatically added to that specific catalog. I have one for my general comic use, another category for all the fonts that are copyright okay, that are commercially okay, and then a third one just for the style of any retro feeling fonts for graphic design. So that was how to source and upload fonts to Clip Studio. Before I get into the basics, let me talk styles really quick. I will ask you to differentiate these three catalogs at the minimum. So first we have our normal spoken dialogue. You can put them in a standard oval size or a hand-drawn balloon type. When it comes to this sort of font, I would recommend against handwriting them as they can be hard to read. If you really want to use your handwriting, I would look for something like one of those online free handwriting to actual font makers so that your work still stays legible. For me, I tend to use CC Wild Words. Another common favorite is Anime Ace. Just a quick note, when it comes to dialogue balloons, you can access the menu through keyboard shortcut T or this icon. My icon is customized, so it might be different from yours. So you can use something like this tool, which will create perfect circles for you. You can also use the balloon pen to draw your own balloons. What I would recommend doing is, whether you do the perfect ovals or hand-drawn balloons, go ahead and make some as a single layer and then register them as your material. So just go to Edit, select Image, and then save it wherever you need. And let's have a simple dialogue. Simple dialogue. Simple dialogue. Once that balloon is saved, if you click and drag it over your text, it will center itself automatically. And you can put it in your favorites list so you can access it at any time. So this is handy, again, because it automatically centers itself. Otherwise, you'll have to spend time trying to manually center all the text by yourself. And of course, if you need to do that, you can select the operation tool, select Object, and then just go ahead and click on either the text or the balloon itself. If at any point you need to separate the two, let's say if you want to change the balloon shape from the text, go ahead and click Ctrl X, and then the balloon will be gone. All right, so that out of the way, let's go ahead and resume to narration. These are often italicized versions of your normal dialogue font. Narration tends to be put in these sort of square boxes, wide or tall. Internal dialogue, it can be by itself, it can be inside these flashy balloons, or even just normal dialogue balloon with circle tails instead of normal triangle tail. And then lastly, you should have a separate font or hand draw sound effects. Now I tend to draw my sound effects because I don't like the way that fonts tend to look. When it comes to drawing sound effects, if I were to give you a tip, think in terms of asymmetric boxes. So you can think either in terms of like the overall shape or individually, something like this. I tend to draw my sound effects in a line, and then if needed, use something like the liquify tool to change their overall shape to fit the panels. So normal dialogue, narration dialogue, sound effects. They should be 3 different types at the minimum. Now, I would recommend you go for more expressive styles too. So let's look at some of them. The first one is the aside dialogue. These texts tend to be floating outside of balloons or sometimes in balloons too, usually in smaller handwritten fonts. It can be used for like sarcastic mutters, some sad commentaries, or whispered thoughts, etc. For this one, make sure to tilt it slightly. Or this one, you also can handwrite it for off-the-record vibes. Next one is shouting or emphasizing. So these are enlarged, bold texts that are often blocky. If you put it with a spiky balloon, then it looks like you're shouting. If you put it in just like a normal dialogue balloon, then it can seem like a dramatic emphasis. If you wanted to push the shouting, then there's the aggressive shouting. Right? This font is more rough, it's almost scratchy, feels harsh and unstable. This is for scenes with intense shouting or raw rage. One tip you can add to this is, same with vector layers, you can change the brush shape for this one as well. So I have this rough one that I can add to accentuate the aggressive feeling. And let's get to our next portion, which are the airy, light-hearted fonts. These tend to be round, almost bubbly-like. So when I place it in normal dialogue balloons, it's usually for punchlines. If I put it into something more bubbly like this, it looks very cheery.